All right, all right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother. I can hear you.
Perfect. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Business TV. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend. Some call him the investment king, others call him the investment goat, Isreal Herrera. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Ray? I appreciate you having me on your show, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you coming on and gonna drop a little bit of wisdom for us. So just to kind of get into things, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your background, and then leading up into when you first kind of heard about real estate.
Well, I'm from Panama. I was born in Panama, the actual country, not Panama Beach, but the actual country. And we migrated over here when I was 7. My mom made the move to come up to the United States, and I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. And
Awesome.
That's where everything started. That's where all the roots started. That's where all my hustling, mind started to spin. And coming up from immigrant parents, man, you have limited capabilities, limited opportunities. I am where I am today because of my mom. She took the plunge and the challenge and the risk really to come to this country. She didn't know anybody here to give us an opportunity. So I'm the oldest kid of 4, single mom, broken household. But I made the best of my opportunities in that situation. So we moved over to Jersey for my last years of high school. And I went to once I graduated from high school, went to St. John's University, spent a year there, and then I moved, and then I went into the military. So I joined the military. I did my career in the military. As I was transitioning out of the military, though, I knew that getting a regular job, or working for somebody else, or punching the clock and things like that just wasn't going to be for me. So I decided to pave my own path in the real estate industry. And as I was transitioning out of the military, I went and got my license. I've always had an interest in real estate investing and how people would buy properties and build these huge portfolios, so forth and so on. And that always interested me. So that's really where the fire started to burn. When we lived in these buildings and lived in apartments. We never lived in any houses or anything like that. And I used to always say to myself, like, who is the owner of this building? Who's the owner of this apartment? Like in Brooklyn, we lived in an apartment that had, I believe, 16 units, something like that. It's had like four units in each floor. We have 4 floors, so it's 16 units. So now, knowing what I know now, this guy was making a complete killing on that 1 unit for sure.
Oh, I bet.
So I always had an interest in that, and once I was transitioning out of the military, I decided to take a stab at it. So I bought my first property in the parking lot of the real estate school, sight unseen, in one of the worst crime-stricken cities in all of the United States. So.
Yeah, man. I know you were kind of telling us about that the other day. But real quick, what branch of the military?
Army. There's only one branch.
Yeah. Okay. All right. There you go. There you go. Nice. Well, I mean, that definitely helps build the that tough mindset. And I know I mean, anybody watching, if you follow Isreal, he's super transparent on the internet, online, all that kind of stuff, shares his life. Man, this guy's running miles every single day. And that's something I want to ask you about. What goes into that mindset? What makes you want to say, hey, is it just for your health? Is it for your mindset? And how much are you running?
What's funny, man, is that, when I was in the military, I used to always say to myself, man, when I retire, I'm not going to be the overweight, quote unquote, fat dude, man. I was in the military. I was ripped up. I was in shape. I'm not going to be that guy. So it's just a mindset when I retired that I was just like, just get up and do it, So I never sleep. So if you ask anybody that knows me and, my wife and my family, I never sleep. I'm always up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning for no reason, with or without an alarm clock. So I get up in the morning, man. It's just a ritual, right? You create these habits. And once you start creating these habits, things start to happen for you. So I get up in the morning, I do calisthenics. When COVID really shut down, it really brought me back to my Army roots, because we used, there was no gym for us. It was just all calisthenics, body weight type of stuff. And I'm running about I would say anywhere between 55 to 70 miles a month. Yeah.
Those are numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's legit, man. You ain't playing around.
70 miles a month, man. I'm trying to get that workout in, that cardio. Cardio is very important to me because, just cardiovascular health has always been important to me.
Yeah, man. That's legit. And a lot of times, myself included, you say, "Oh, I'm gonna go run," and then you're like, well, I can push it off till tomorrow, this and that.
Yeah.
But if you putting up numbers like that every single month, that definitely goes into that mindset and whatnot. And then also, just to play a little bit off of that mindset too, is you're talking about when you're a kid, and you're looking and you're thinking, oh, who owns this building? I know a lot of people aren't even thinking about that.
Yeah, no, that's what I used to always think about. I used to sit on the stoop of that building and think to myself, and I never saw that owner. I never saw who my mom paid rent to, but I used to always think to myself, like, who owned this building or who owned the buildings next to us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We used to have like row homes next to us. Now I know because of what I do for a living. But back then I used to say, man, who owns this building? Who owns these apartments and things like that? And I always wanted to own one of them for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think I'm trying to think back when I was like a teenager or a kid, and I just feel like that wouldn't even been on my radar at all to even think something like that. And then if I did, if somebody were to ask me, I would probably be like, oh, some Wall Street guy, some guy in a suit, something like that. But no, I mean, it could just be a normal guy like you, me, anybody.
Yeah. It's definitely a normal guy. It doesn't have to be a hedge fund kind of situation. It's just a person that made a great investment, and now he's making money while he sleeps, or he or she is making money while he sleeps.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best money. I think you call it, what do you call it? Mailbox money?
Mailbox money. That's it.
Yeah.
So, go home.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into that. I know you said the first property that you bought it sight unseen. Kind of give us a little bit of that story.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I said, I was transitioning out of the military, and I knew that I wanted to start making, I wanted to start to change the trajectory of my family, right? You and I spoke about this earlier, and, is stopping the cycle of having to live paycheck to paycheck, or now commission to commission check. You have a lot of realtors that are out there. Unfortunately, times are tough. You know what I mean? The market is tough. So you have a lot of us that are living out there commission check to commission check. But real estate investing can actually change all of that. You know what I mean? But I was in a parking lot. Funny story is I was right next to my wife. We were going to school together, and I'm on auction.com, which is a platform where you buy properties online. And I'm looking at this property. The bid starts at $1,700, right? And at the time, $1,700 was a lot of money for me. So I opened up the app. I loaded my I created my profile, and I started bidding on this property. And it just became like addicting. It's kind of like, like being at the casino, at the blackjack table. It's like you have to, bid in increments of $500, and then it goes into $100 and things like that. But finally I said, I'm gonna do one more bid. Finally I said, this is it. This is the last bid. And I did that last bid, man, and it hit. I won the bid. Okay,
how much?
So now I won the bid for $3,500.
Okay.
Yeah, $3,500. I bought a house, an actual house in the United States, for $3,500.
Again, sight unseen.
Sight unseen. Now, when I looked at this
never seen it.
Property, never seen it. Now, when I looked at this picture of this property, it was all boarded up. So I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, what have I done with my money? I'm throwing this money away that we definitely need.
Yeah.
Not only that, but when I leave out of now my wife still doesn't know about this. I bought this property. I tell her as we're walking back to the school. And so we get out of class and we drive to this house. When we get to the house next to it, because it was a row home, so the house next to it is actually burned down. The house that's attached to the house that I just bought, which is boarded up, it's burned down. Oh, so that wasn't a good conversation back home that day.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. That was going to be my follow-up question, is how did that go over with the wife?
It wasn't a good conversation. You
were in a doghouse for a little while, huh?
I was in the doghouse for a little while for sure.
But you made it up.
I made it up. So I had all these HGTV dreams. I was gonna, renovate this property and make it luxurious and all that good stuff, until I started meeting with contractor after contractor, and they started giving me these rehab numbers, and I was like, man, I don't have that kind of money. Where's that money gonna come from?
Yeah.
$3,500 was a stretch. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm just going to put this thing on the MLS. I have a license. I'm a real estate agent at this point in time. Let me put it on the MLS. So I closed on it, paid the bank their $3,500 and stuff like that, a couple of other closing fees. And then I put it on the MLS for $29,000. I didn't get any hits. And then I dropped it down to 25. I started to get very worried. I didn't get any hits at all. When I dropped it down to 25, I started to get some hits. Then I finally dropped it down to 20. And it was like my phone didn't stop ringing. It was like boom, 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 boom.
On and popping.
On and popping. I sold it for $20K and I made over $16,000 on that property.
On your first ever real estate investment?
Real estate investment ever. I made $16K and like 15.5, and I have not looked back ever since.
So I think it's fair to say that night in the doghouse was worth it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I was hooked on phonics. I was hooked on drugs. I was ready to go.
Yeah, and let me ask you too. You said you already had your real estate license. How deep in the game were you by that point? Had you already been established, or were you able to count the deals like on 1 to 2 hands?
No, actually, that real estate investment deal was my first deal.
Really? So you had just like brand new license?
Brand new. I was green. I brand new licensed. I was green.
Oh,
that was my first deal. My first listing was my own very first investment property.
Oh man, I would say you're a little bit crazy, but I feel like sometimes to do big things, you got to be a little bit crazy, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Just a little bit. But and then after that, you hit the ground running. What was the next one like?
After that, actually, I hit the ground running. The real estate ground took a little bit of a struggle, and I attest this to a lot of the mentors that I had early on. I thank God for the people that I came across when it came to real estate. I had a broker up in New Jersey that told me, hey, my first 3 real estate deals, if it wasn't for a coach that I hired, I probably would have got out the industry, right? Because they were terrible. They were like the worst things that ever happened to me, these first 3 real estate transactions. And he was right. And it was basically the same thing that happened to me, besides this investment property. But my very next investment, and this is one of the things that I'm going to talk about further, is I lost $18K in my first investments, right? I have wins, many wins, not many L's, a couple of L's. But I'm, like you said in the beginning of the show, I'm transparent. I'll tell you exactly what it is. I'm not going to tell you like some of these gurus that are, telling you, hey, I'm making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 and there's never any issues, any hiccups, any headaches. There's many headaches, bro. Yeah. Many sleepless nights. You just have to push through them and know that, you'll come out better in the end, But that, to be honest with you, those were the best $18,000 that I ever lost in my life.
Because of the lessons?
Because of the lessons, exactly. Because of the lessons. Yeah. I did everything wrong at that property because that was my first rehab. That was my first renovation property that I ever did, and I did everything wrong at that property.
Yeah, there's a saying. It's not win or lose; it's win or learn. So
no, right, exactly. And some coaches will tell you, hey, listen, you're either going to pay me the worthwhile ones, right? You're either going to pay me so I can stop you from making these mistakes, or you're going to pay along the way. Some way, somehow, you're going to pay.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely true. You're going to pay some way, somehow. I'd rather pay to learn and get awesome mentorship, awesome education now, looking back at it where I am today, than throwing away that money that I did there.
Definitely. I mean, it comes with the territory, right? You win some, you lose some. But I mean, that being said, let's talk about some of your wins. Let's talk about, some of these things that it seems from what I see that you're just doing on the daily. I see you're in the flip game. What types of real estate investing are you doing?
I'm doing everything, man. I'm doing everything from, wholesale to hotel to fix and flip, to creative financing. I'm doing, buy and hold. I got my hands in all those avenues. Because, and I'm speaking to realtors here, right? I tell realtors all the time, we have the key. We have real estate licenses. We are focused on just a commission, how to handle a buyer and how to handle a seller, when we should really be focused on how can we quarterback that deal. We should all strive to be the Tom Brady's of real estate, right?
Yep.
Tom Brady, just pick your favorite quarterback. You should learn how to quarterback this deal, right? When the bomb ain't there, let's look at the slant. When the slant ain't there, let's check it down, right? I know you're a big boxing guy. We should try to strive to be your best boxing of real estate, right? Canelo, Mayweather, whatever it is. But you got to be able to quarterback these deals. And what I mean by quarterbacking is, okay, if you hit this roadblock, there's another way to get this deal done. If that doesn't happen, there's another way to get that deal done. And that's what I love about real estate.
Coming up with those solutions.
Right? Because you are the problem solver, right?
Yeah.
You should be the problem solver to not only the seller, but also the buyer, because the buyer may have come with some other issues that you may not even know about that you have to get through. So you theoretically have to be a quarterback, a psychologist, everything, lawyer, everything.
Oh man, yeah, definitely. People,
yeah,
definitely. That one hits.
Yeah,
being the psychologist.
It's not for the weak. This game right here is not for the faint of heart, for sure.
Yeah, every day is something new, but definitely being on the other side of it, making that money, like you said, being that quarterback, being that Mayweather, making the moves yourself. That's something that everybody, I don't care who you are. And the thing is too, we talking, like you brought up, talking about boxing. I was just listening to Mike Tyson's podcast the other day. Right. And they were talking about him. He's notorious for having blown $40 million or $400 million.
400, right?
Yeah, that's quite a bit of money.
It's a lot.
Yeah, they asked him, hey Mike, if you could go back, what would you have done with that 40 million? He said, invested in real estate. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Because and my passion is really to go back to inner city communities, right? Because that's where I'm from. Right. Yeah. I was that kid that thought that the only way you can get out of these inner city communities is shoot a basketball, run a football, whatever the case may be, some sort of sport, rapping, entertainment, or being in the streets doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. Right.
Yeah.
But nobody gave us these classes about financial literacy and financial freedom and how these other entrepreneurship professions can take you further away than this. So you speak about Mike. Mike comes from one of the worst neighborhoods in New York City, in Brooklyn. He comes from Brownsville. That's just worse, right? So he knows nothing. You give a kid like that has no experience on money management or money literacy, it's gonna go quick.
They're buying tigers.
Yeah. You're gonna go buy tigers like that, stuff like that you're not supposed to go buy.
Yeah.
So I try to tell everybody, man, even my family and people that are in these inner cities, primarily, let them know, listen, we can get out of this too. We can own these buildings. We can own these apartments.
Yeah, definitely, man, and that's something that's great. I could tell you're definitely trying to set an example. And like we touched upon earlier, just being transparent, showing like everyone can do this, and it's just there for you to be able to do. But I mean, that being said, I would love for you to share maybe a couple examples of some good deals that you've done lately. Actually, before you do that, let me ask you. I see you've been doing quite a couple flips. How many flips have you done?
I've done over 150 real estate investing transactions.
Oh man,
in my career.
What about this year?
This year, because we opened up heavily this Florida market, we used to do a lot. Our main source of business happened when I was in New Jersey. When we migrated down here 3 years ago, it'll be 3 years. Yeah, it was 3 years ago in July. I decided to focus mainly on retail real estate. Which is where our partnership with the Figueroa team came in, and us, joining the Figueroa team and blossoming there. But then, as towards the end of last year, I said it's time to turn on the lights. It's time to really come on. I was still doing flips in New Jersey. I was focusing on retail here, but I was doing a lot of flips and wholesales and things like that in New Jersey, obviously before the pandemic hit. But then this year, right now, we are currently at 15 flips. And we have 4 pending to buy. So by the end of August, we'll be at 19.
Yeah, those are big boy numbers. Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah. So for those listening, you know what I mean? If you were doubting if this guy's a real deal, I mean, real deal Holyfield. Isreal Herrera right here. So that being said, if you could walk us through just, a couple of examples, what are the numbers looking like, ROI, all that good stuff.
Man, so our goal was to get to 30 by the end of the year. I think we're stepping right into that. But I'll share one deal that we recently did, and it goes back to being a problem solver. So my team, we reached out to this seller, and the seller wanted to unload this property. Right, the property was in terrible shape, but it had also a couple of other liens and things like that. And we experienced a ton of hurdles with this deal, all the way to the point where there was a cloud in title, and turns out that there's not only one person on this title, but two people on this title. I had to drive all the way to Panama City Beach, to be honest with you, almost, to get the signature on the deed for the dad, who is also a senior, and the son is a junior, to release his interest in this property. I mean, it was crazy. He had to sign a quit claim deed. We signed this quit claim deed. All right. This is how you never quit. We met this man at his job, signed this quit claim deed on the hood of the car, and the notary was there notarizing this deed in the hood of the car in front of a Winn-Dixie supermarket. That's what you never quit, right? And I made this personally because this man trusted me, right? So we picked up this deal, we negotiated it, and we picked it up for about $189,000 is what we had it on the contract with. I, at the time, was doing three other renovations, and I decided that my extra strategy at that point in time was going to be wholesaling.
Okay. So
I circle prospect. I got it under contract, which means now I control the property with that piece of paper. And then I did the circle prospecting. So for all the realtors that are listening out there, all I did was a quick search to figure out comps. And then I added a field at the bottom of the MLS. I said, hey, I want to know who's buying properties within a mile radius cash of this property. I found out who that was. Obviously, those people are probably investors. I called them up. This was on a Thursday night. By Saturday, I had an open house at that property. And I had 7 offers on that property by one Saturday, cash offers.
Tremendous.
So remember the numbers. I had it on the contract for 189. I sold it that very same day for 240.
189 to 240.
189 to 240. Never swung a hammer.
Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, are you listening to this guy?
Yeah, never swung a hammer. So that's been one of our good big wins this year. And this third quarter is going to be even bigger, man. So we've been averaging some tremendous ROIs on that. And that's just me not even putting any money into it, not even putting a dime into it. That's just me controlling the deal and then selling my interest off to another investor that now wants to make money. Now, the investor now picked it up for 240. They probably put about 50 into it. Now, guess what they sold it for?
How much did they sell that for?
$379.
So I mean, what I'm hearing, the money is there to be made.
The money is there, man. So I had a happy moment, and then when she called me and told me about it, and I saw it on the MLS, I had a gut punch moment, right? Because I had this thing under contract at 189, and she just sold it for 379.
Ooh.
So if I would have just invested that 55K, I would have been able to be in the 6 figures on one deal.
Yeah, I mean, you still got the win, but
definitely got the W for sure. Because I didn't do any work, any manual labor, man. I just put my thinking cap on, man, and solved the seller's problem, man. The seller had already spoken to 7 other investors at the time, and no one was hearing this married couple. I came in and I heard them. I was empathetic. I was sympathetic to their situation, and then I just took action.
Absolutely, man. That's what it's about, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you do deals like this, I know you mentioned earlier that you had good coaching, stuff like this. Like, how did you learn how to do things like this? Because I feel like that's really the big disconnect between the reason why people are hesitant to get into this. Like you mentioned before, you got these gurus saying, "Oh, I can make you all this money. Look at me, this and that." but I don't know if people really believe it or they're just not confident in doing it, putting their money up. So, I mean, what gave you the confidence? What gave you the knowledge to actually be able to make these type of moves?
I actually learned on the fly, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You told me what actually I was against coaching. I was always against coaching. But funny story is you asked me earlier was, how did it, was a game on from that first investment? Well, it was. I had great mentors in my first brokerage, right? And those mentors were, I speak about them all the time, Craig Burbridge and Janet Flaherty. And they gave me an avenue to sell bank-owned real estate. So when I first got in the game, I only really did about 2 or 3 retail, regular retail transactions. And I went straight into selling bank-owned properties. Well, as I was selling bank-owned properties, I met two of my partners, and we decided to come together and put our cash together and create a company called Air Homes LLC. And we started buying properties left and right in Camden, New Jersey, which is the first city I told you about, which is the crime-stricken city.
Yeah.
Our first year, I remember in 2016, I gave them an idea. They bought onto the idea. We put our cash together. In our first year, we bought and sold 33 properties in Camden, 33. Our second year, we did 67.
Wow.
And then our third year, we did 43. And that's when I moved down here to New Jersey. I mean, to Florida.
Yeah.
So I learned on the fly because whatever mistakes we did with our own investments, we knew not to do again. But I don't recommend that for everybody. I recommend if you have any kind of funds or whatever the case may be, I recommend that you find a mentor, a coach to get you to that next level. You find a mentor or a coach to get you to that next level so that you can then, accelerate your curve a lot faster. If I would have hired a coach back then, the right one, it would have accelerated my curve a whole lot faster. And I would have probably been 3 times further when I am right now.
Absolutely. And I mean, like you said, you got to get that coaching and whatnot. And we're bringing you on here. You're talking about all this good stuff, but I know in a couple of days on Friday, correct, from 9 to 12, you'll be hosting an event over at Drive Shack. And, like you said before, you're going to be opening up, talking about all this information, all this knowledge. So tell us a little bit about this event that you're hosting, and what you're going to be teaching, why you're going to be teaching it.
Man, I'm so excited about this event, man. I'm super excited. It's our first speaking event that we're going to be in front of the masses, and it's going to be tremendous. We're going to have some powerhouse, not only myself, but I'm going to open you guys up to other investors that are doing it just like myself here in this community, so that we can become a bigger community of investing and building portfolio. There's a lot of money for all of us to get out there, man. We don't necessarily need to keep any of that close to the vest. I want to build a community of investors, a community of wealth building, so that we can all, change our financial trajectory. So on our August 6th at the Drive Shack in Lake Nona, I'm going to be teaching you guys about, creative financing, what wholesale really is, all the terms. I'm going to open up my playbook on how I actually pick up and find these properties off market. None of the properties that we buy really are on the MLS. They're all off market. I'm bringing in my marketing guru, my marketing wizard from Arizona, so that he can show it to you live in person. I mean, it's going to be power packed. And I also have a couple of other guests and, guest speakers and guest investors. So this event, you're going to be able to get the curtains pulled open and see exactly what I do on a daily basis, my entire operation, so that there's no guesswork now. Now it's all about you taking action.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, basically, eliminating the excuses for anybody that's not confident in what they're doing. You're going to show you, like you said, open up the playbook, show them, hey, this is how you get it done. And the money, like you mentioned before, the money's out there to be made, and you're sharing it with everyone, which is just awesome. I think you and myself kind of share that abundance mindset where, it's out there. We're here to share it. And at the end of the day, I mean, I believe that business is unlimited. There's so much business out there that even if I dedicated every minute of my life and didn't sleep, if I was like you and didn't sleep,
you couldn't get to all of it.
I couldn't get to all of it. Yeah. So, You know what I mean? What's the point in, hating on people or throwing shade or trying to keep secrets to myself and whatnot? Nah. When you put it out there, it comes right back to you. And I think that's awesome that you're going to be having this event. How can we sign up for this event?
Well, I'm going to send you guys the Eventbrite link. It's going to be posted on Ray's Instagram and all his platforms. You can come to my event, but as well. But you can go to the Eventbrite link, which will be posted here, or DM me or DM my team. Our business page is there. Israel.A.Herrera is my Instagram. Or you can also go to MI Herrera Group, Facebook and Instagram. You can see it there. You'll be able to sign up through the stories there. But yeah, this event what originated from the fact that I speak to about 5 to 7 realtors and clients on a daily basis about how to invest and how to get to this. And I just said to myself, you know what? This requires an event. This information should be heard, not just by 5 onesies and twosies on a daily basis, but by a lot of people. Because my goal is to really say, hey, Ray, you were at that event, or, hey, Israel, I found a deal, man. Help me out through this. And we can partner up, right?
Yeah.
We can partner up. No longer do you have to say, okay, well, I can't do that deal because I don't know what to do with it. You can call me, you can call some of our other partners and say, hey, this is what's going on. Because in that event, we're going to open up not just the playbook, but access to our financing, our finance, private finance guys, access to our contractors. We're going to give you A to Z steps to get to the deal.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, I know you and Veronica were talking the other day. Like, if you find the deal, that money will come. You just have to make it happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Tremendous, man. Well, let me tell you, I can't wait for the event. I'm so excited. I'm gonna have my notebook ready. I'm gonna be like a little nerd in there, taking all my notes, all that kind of stuff.
We got a notebook for you at the table.
I don't even have to bring the notebook.
You ain't got to bring nothing.
What about a pen? You got a pen for me too?
I got a pen for you too. Just bring
look at this guy. Yep. Awesome, man, dude. I love it. So yeah, that being said, anybody who wants some more information about this event, how you can go to this event, DM Israel, DM me. I will be there. And like I said, man, I look forward to it. Any other last, comments, concerns, info you want to drop, plugs you want to drop?
No, man, just come to the event, man. If you can't make it, man, that's fine. Just give me a call. We could work something out one-on-one. If you're out there and you're stressing, I just want to get this out to you, man. If you don't mind, if you're out there and you're stressing and you think that you can't make it, you're struggling, whatever the case may be, just use me as inspiration, okay? Because I never quit. I believed in myself, and now I'm living out my dreams. And if you just believe in yourself, trust me, these things will work out. You have to put the work in. You have to take action, but just trust me. Just believe in yourself, and all your dreams will come true.
Absolutely, man. I love that. I myself, as an agent, definitely have had those nights and days where I'm just like, why am I doing this?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But you just have to really, really keep that positive mindset, keep pushing forward. And I mean, you were sitting on a stoop one day and look at where you're at now.
Absolutely. My last plug is this hat that I got on, man. My son has created a business. He's created his own clothing line. It's called Antera Studios. I'm trying to build a young entrepreneur.
All right.
So, he's designing hats. He's got this first t-shirt release. So look him up. You'll see his information in my Instagram and also on his as well.
How old is he?
He's 15.
15. And 15. He's already an entrepreneur.
He's already an entrepreneur. That's right. I'm trying to build him.
All right, man. Raising him right.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Israel, again, man, thank you so much for joining me today and kind of sharing your story. And also, just for the event that you're going to be having. I look forward to it. And I'll see you Friday.
All right, Ray. Appreciate you, my brother. See you Friday. Can't wait. You'll be impressed. I promise you.
Absolutely. All right. Until then.
All right.